It's a brand new week, and I'm so excited to be here. I'm even more excited to celebrate the phenomenal women that I get to host with every day on Jasiri. It was Mother's Day on Sunday, and although I'm a pet mom, I'll be doing a toast to you three today. Cheers to motherhood. These three amazing mothers on the table who blend it all so perfectly with grace and demurely. Cheers to you all.
Thank you so much. I was waiting for like the other shoe to drop because with Gen Z, there's always like there's always a rounded box at it.
For y'all.
It's true. We'll take that. Mother's Day to every mother out there, especially to the responsible ones, making a positive impact on society and the next generation. So, ladies, how did you celebrate Mothering Sunday? Look at me.
She said go that way. She said go that way.
Wow. Lola, my love, how did you celebrate?
The kiddo's not home.
I left yesterday.
Wow.
I think I woke up in my feelings. I was just feeling all those you don't love me enough kind of thing.
You don't value me.
You don't
understand the sacrifices I make for this family.
I was expecting poetry, though all of them claim poverty, but
They're students. How are they not poor?
I was waiting for Beauty sent me Mother's Day message first. I was so emotional. I didn't open it. I was just feeling all grouchy. Then I guess when we got to church was when he realized it was Mother's Day.
So he said.
So during church service, Happy Mother's Day. I love you very much. Finish. No poetry, no flowers, no flurry. Wow. And I just came to my room to say, "Mommy, bye. I'm going." Wow. And she went. She didn't even send me Mother's Day greeting until later in the day, almost night. And of course, I just felt all grouchy. But in church, they gave us lies, goodie bags.
And that made me happy.
Yes, that made me feel nice.
What about you, Catherine?
Nothing. I was just being a mother. They are all complete.
Because it doesn't ever stop.
It doesn't have to stop, man.
Yeah.
You just sit where you are. Oh, I want to come. Oh, no, it's like, I've been thinking about it. Let's not spend too much. I'm just going to come home. And they all came home.
Wow.
I said it once the first two said they were coming home, there's no way you were going to keep the baby away. There's no way you're going to keep the baby away. How is that going to work?
So you were mothering instead of them to mother you.
Everybody has what
a life. Do you know I thought about Coco yesterday?
What did she do?
I don't know your Coco. I felt as if she was going to, maybe I was using Coco to make myself feel sadder. That I know Coco would have read to Luke.
Coco did you?
And I saw her nice face and how bright and sprightly. Mommy, we were hi, happy Mother's Day. She come and kiss and hug me.
We were Netflix and chilling after church. And my husband was on his phone screen. It's today Mother's Day. I just looked at him. I said, wow. I called in and said, Mommy's Mother's Day. And I said, wow. I said, 2-0.
No, but you don't blame them. There's the
No, I know. That's why I didn't really. We had the issue around like there are 3 official Mother's Days. Yeah. Yesterday was Mothering Sunday, which is celebrated as Mother's Day in Nigeria. Then there's the UK Mother's Day. Then there's the Mother's Day in May in the US.
So I blame you all for actually spoiling it for me. Yes,
what's your problem?
Because I spent the whole of yesterday educating people on, it's Mothering Sunday.
It is.
At some point, I'm like, what is wrong with you? No, I get you. It's literally going around. Yes. No, in the Catholic cathedral, this is the time where people go back to their mothers.
Yes. So that lesson stuck with you.
And so it didn't really mean much. In fact, at some point, I felt so bad because I was scrolling. I was seeing people posting their mothers. That was when I called my mom. My mom was sleeping. Like, is it today? Okay. So I felt so bad because it already stuck with me. I'm like, today is not Mother's Day. It's Mothering Sunday. Yeah. But then again, when you check the evolution of the word, they've adopted it to be Mother's Day.
They'll do it happens in March, and since March is like Women's Month.
Yes.
Or is it because it's a day in?
And that's why I said that maybe that's why many people adopt it. Like me too, I'm confused really. But I want them to celebrate all the Mother's Day existing.
So enlighten us this year
last year about the Mother's Day.
I'll take it as my fault. But remember, hello. When we talk about language, there's local context in language and society. And so I've explained Mothering Sunday, but if your society says that they see it as Mother's Day, and then they come and give you another one, who's not going to take it? And then they decide to do the one in May.
I want to be celebrated on all the Mother's Day in the world.
It's not all. Celebrate me every day. Because a woman celebrates every opportunity you have. Celebrate your parents, but we're talking about mothers now. Now, in light of Mother's Day, we, or rather Lolo, was on the streets to see what people think of mothers and to put some smiles on some faces. And all that is courtesy of our wonderful partners at Indomie. Now, let's just see how it went down. This is Jasiri on the streets.
Mother's Day is celebrated multiple times in a year, but the most prominent of them is celebrated in the month of March. My name is Omotunde Adeboale David, and I am on the streets for Jasiri. Today, we are on the street to ask people, what do they think about their mother, and what valuable lessons are they learned from their mothers? So, come with me. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Grandma.
Happy Mother's Day to all the lovely mothers out there. You guys are the best.
I'm wishing everyone Happy Mother's Day to all reliable and responsible mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day to all lovely women out there.
Happy Mother's Day to every caring and reliable mothers in the world.
I want you to describe your mother in 3 words.
She's elegant. She's the best thing ever, and she'll always be a mother to me.
I would say my mother is the best mother of the world. She is very nice and kind to me.
Aww. So tell me, what did your mama do for you? Where you go, where do you they take respect am as mama? That sacrifice where your mama do for you?
He teach me how to do business. I'm enjoying the business to today.
Wow, that is so unique. He said her mother taught her business.
My mother taught me a lot how to take care of myself and to take care of my children when I am old enough to have the children.
She teach me that if I have something that's small, I can use it to take care of my children if I have no money plenty.
I've learned to be respectful. I've learned to be responsible. You don't talk to people anyhow. That's what I've learned from my mother, to be nice to people. Well, the most valuable lesson she taught me is be respectful and always end up when you are wrong. If you are the wrong one, end up to it, and don't let the bad people stop you from being good.
Yeah, the valuable lesson my mother taught me is it taught me the word of God. Yes, it really taught us what the word of God means to our life, that in any situation we should rely on the word of God, and we should always be prayerful woman.
The big lesson which my mama has taught me is always to be loyal at all costs and be respectful wherever you are, either the old one, the adult, or the child. Always be respectful and be loyal at all costs.
My mother taught me that anytime that people should offended me, that I should learn how to forgive and forget, that I should not take any revenge. And I am following the steps till today.
So you dey chop Indomie?
Well, I dey buy carton for house.
Yeah. So if you want cook Indomie for your children, what you go put inside wey go make them happy?
I dey put egg, scent leaf, onions.
Wow, scent leaf, egg, onions. Auntie, collect your flour, they go. I always have had crayfish, onions, and little groundnut oil into my Indomie because I always want to be spicy.
At times I dey put scent leaf.
Nice.
When I went to eat Indomie, due to grandma's stomach, at times I will just put maybe the sauce that is there, not the full one, just slightly one, and at times I'll just put maybe a little bit groundnut oil or onion and slice this raw dough to make the taste spicy.
No, I'll first boil water, fried all my groceries I want to add to it. Then I will mix all of it, fry the Indomie. You know that I've already parboiled the Indomie, so I'll just fry it, put all my sauces, and my Indomie is ready. It's yummy, yummy.
I will first of all put small water. It depends on the type of the size of the Indomie that I want to cook. But I like a big bellyful Indomie. I will put enough water and I will put onions. Then I can put crayfish, onions, and also all the spices. Then when the water boils, I'll put my Indomie. Then I will cook it for like 5 minutes. Then my Indomie is ready for eating.
Hey, just
Enjoy it very, very well.
okay. What will be your favorite Indomie flavor? Which one you like pass?
Green one. I love the onions.
chicken.
Onion chicken.
All right.
Oh, my grandchildren love it so much. Like this, the Indomie chicken also. Yes.
I just want to ask you now. Say which one be your favorite flavor?
That's in chicken, chicken flavor Indomie.
Personally, I like the jollof, but my mom usually likes the plain one.
The Indomie table, chicken flavor.
I love the relish, and it's so satisfying. It's full of nutrition, and it fills my tummy. I don't know any other person, but
It's feeling awesome. Grandma, I want to present this gift to you on behalf of Indomie and Jasiri. So please say thank you to both of them.
Indomie, thank you. More grace to your elbow. Your company will be going on. You will not go flatly. You will not be fainted. The Lord will increase you.
thank you, Indomie, and thank you, Jasiri. This is huge.
Thank you, Indomie and Jesse. I appreciate the love you share for us.
Thank you, Indomie and Jasri, for appreciating mothers. We love you people so much, and we pray that your hand will keep going up.
Thank you, Indomie. Thank you, Jasir.
Thank you, Indomie. Thank you, Jasri.
Happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Indomie. Thank you, Jasri.
Happy Mother's Day. Thank you, Indomie. Thank you, Jasiri.
Thank you, Indomie. Thank you, Jasir.
Thank you, Indomie. Thank you, Jasiri. God will bless you.
Happy Mother's Day once again to all mothers out there, responsible mothers, hardworking mothers. Thank you, Jasiri. Thank you, Indomie. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jasiri. Thank you, Lolo.
Thank you, Lolo. You know what I love is when Lolo came out, put her hand in her pocket.
I love the energy.
Was slowly like, I got something to tell
Yeah,
you.
like you said, listen, if you don't know mothers are, like, listen, you better listen to me. That commanding
But
tone.
do you know that I channeled Catherine?
That's what she did. You guys, that's what she did when she was on
So
the
I
bike.
told myself that I was going to do a little bit of Catherine, you know, and they didn't give me a excuse. I just said, okay, Mother's Day is celebrated many times during the year, and it was
Something happens when you go on the
I like that you looked like you're not a problematic person.
Oh,
She looked like she was not a diplomatic person.
like she's problematic person.
Wow.
She looked like she's not.
But I am in real sense.
Lolo, you saw.
Hey, what
This
you
child
say?
has just dropped a word. But please, let me go back to the words of the ladies. That woman who was saying, Happy Mother's Day to all reliable and responsible. I love you, madam, because we understand. It takes more than bearing a child, than being the one who provides the semen for the child to be a parent. And it's hard. Man, like,
You know what I really
sacrificial
enjoy?
work.
I
Sacrificial
love the
work.
fact that mothers are always out. The sun was blazing, they were selling their oranges, they were selling their mangoes. You could see the enthusiasm that they love life. They love to celebrate and work hard for their children. And African women, I don't even think we collect our flowers enough. All the women were sweating in the sun. And I know that they're doing it for their family, for their children. It's amazing. There's one woman I used to know in Mushi. She sold agbo. All her children were schooled abroad.
What?
I met them. You know, when you go on holiday, don't you know my mom? I've been seeing you in my shop. I said, which shop? Say, yeah, me alagbo, ni Mushi. I was like, your mother did all that and sent all of you here.
Yeah.
Mommy, collect your flowers.
I feel like women are.
Kudos to you. Kudos to you.
You'll explain. No, she'll explain when we go on break.
Women are hidden gems, especially when it comes to businesses. You see, I mean, for years, you see recipes, mothers' recipes passed down.
Yeah.
You see the woman that said her mother taught her how to do business.
I love that.
These lessons that mothers teach is not just for you and your husband's house, even though that's what they say all the time. So you do your husband's house, but it's literally for your generations to come. Sometimes you see yourself doing some things and you don't know that it's because your great grandmother taught your mother, and then you're like, why are we doing it? No, that's how they've been doing it to my family. It's usually mother's lessons. Right? Oh, it's beautiful.
All right, we're going to take a quick time out. We have an important conversation to get into after the break. We'll be looking at a digital tech NGO that's taking one of the biggest social media platforms to court, and that is TikTok, over sexual exploitation. You have the details because we have a representative of the NGO standing by. Stay with us. is Jasiri. You can join the conversation on social media. We are at News Central TV. Now today, we're discussing a landmark legal case that has major implications for online safety in Nigeria. As we know, social media has revolutionized how we connect, learn, and express ourselves, but at what cost? While platforms like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and X have become entertainment hubs, concerns over child exploitation, harmful content, and inadequate content moderation have sparked global debates, raising urgent questions about digital safety, corporate responsibility, and the protection of our children in the digital age. Citizens Gavel, a civic, tech, and human rights organization, has taken a bold step and is taking TikTok, you heard me right, TikTok, to court over allegations of facilitating sexual exploitation of minors on its platform. That's our topic for today, and we'll be getting right into the discussion. Joining us to break it down is Sylvester Agih. He's a senior legal analyst at Citizens Gavel, and he has all the details of this case for us. Sylvester, welcome to Jasiri. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
While the ladies were quizzing your background, it is a lot.
And wondering, but let's start with the basic question. What prompted Citizens Gavel to file this suit against TikTok? Because it's TikTok. And I have many questions, but I'll just start with the basics. What prompted you guys to file this? Was it based on reports or anything specific that came back to you?
Yeah. So it wasn't based on report, but based on first-hand experience, right? So Citizens Gavel, we've observed over time that contrary to what TikTok as a platform is meant for, which is a place for creatives to show their talents or skills. You know, you have a news downstairs, for instance, you want to showcase it, so you record yourself dancing and then posting it for people to like, share, comment, and all that. Now, over time, we've observed a shift from that concept to where adult males in particular would, or adult users would invite young girls, you know, to come online and partake in certain inappropriate activities. So it could include, you know, flashing their breast.
Yes,
among other things.
that
right.
one.
So we observed this, and it has been going on and on and on. And we thought that TikTok would, you know, take charge of this and put in place certain measures that would curtail them. But over time, we observed that nothing was done, and we thought that, look, it's high time someone does something about it. Yeah. So the first thing we did was to write TikTok. Right. About 2 months ago, we wrote TikTok, raising some of these concerns and then making certain recommendations. Now we thought that they would take steps, and they actually took some steps. Right. So for instance, some of the accounts that we referenced, they actually took them down, the accounts, and even the videos that the link to the videos that we shared, they also took those down. But beyond that, nothing else was done. Now, for us, that is like, you know, treating the symptoms and then, you know, leaving out the root cause, right? So that is basically what prompted us to go to court, to get the court to make certain pronouncements, directing TikTok to put in place measures to check those, you know, gaps that we observe on the platform. Yeah.
Wow, wonderful. This is something very close to my heart. I've been advocating that there should be some kind of regulation. I don't know the how large or how small the ambit of the law can, you know, encompass these social media spaces. But anyway, in your lawsuit, you did cite Nigeria's Constitution and the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, and the Child Rights Act also was referenced. Can you break down these laws that support your case? Because in Nigeria, I'm a lawyer by training, people do not know that there are aspects of the law that talk about different things. And for you to be able to have a right standing in court, you must be able to back your suit or whatever you're filing with the relevant laws. So can you give us a little bit of laws that you think would make this stand?
Support your case,
That's right. So like you rightly pointed out, we reference beginning with the Constitution. So Section 34 of the Constitution guarantees the right to freedom of that's the dignity of the human person, right? And it guarantees that. And it also, but you would notice that under Section 34, it didn't elaborate on what, you know, the dignity of the human person encompasses. It's a little bit Well, not really ambiguous, but it doesn't cover the field, so to speak. But when you go to the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, particularly Article 5 of it, now that, in addition to guaranteeing, the dignity of the human person, also prohibits, in express terms, all forms of exploitation, and that includes sexual exploitation. Now, if you observe, our complaint before the court is that these minors or these young ladies are invited by adult users to come on live sessions to partake in certain challenges that we consider as inappropriate, right? And these people do this thing for the financial gains. So if you use TikTok, you will notice that during those live sections, other viewers, who are happy with what is happening would be giving gifts. TikTok, exactly, monetary gifts and all those things, things like that. And that is what prompts or, ginger these people to do what they do. So in a way, we consider this as sexual exploitation because if not for that financial reward that is attached to those challenges, those young girls will not participate in it. And you would, if you watch the videos very well, you will notice the reluctance in wanting to do those things that those adults are asking them to do. But however, bearing in the back of their mind that there is a financial reward to it, they would nonetheless go ahead to do that. So Section, or rather Article 5 of the African Charter on Human and People's Rights expressly prohibits sexual exploitations of all forms, including sexual exploitation. And that is one of the law or international convention that we are,
backing.
Exactly. Then, of course, the Child Rights Act, Section 11, also guarantees, the right to dignity of the human person and also prohibits all forms of sexual abuse. Now, when you talk of sexual abuse, for children, or rather for minors, most of these guys, they've not attained that age that that age of consent to be able to consent.
Oh, look, 18.
Exactly. They've not attained that age. So whereas they see this as a challenge, as something that I just do and it will, it's just a one-time thing, something like that. But they forget that the internet doesn't forget, right? It never forgets. So this thing that they feel they've done today, it will live after them for several decades to come, and that is what we are trying to curtail by this action.
Okay, so you have given many instances of sexual exploitation, especially online, and you've also highlighted, some of the issues around TikTok and minors in Nigeria. But I'm curious to know why TikTok was chosen. Have you seen X? What happens on that app? So why is it that it was streamlined to just TikTok? Because I know I want to ask how widespread the issue of sexual exploitation is, but we all know this is Nigeria. So how vast would you say this particular issue is, and why did you narrow it down? That's Citizen Gavel narrow it down to TikTok alone.
Okay. So you're absolutely right. When it comes to sexual exploitation, it's not limited to just TikTok, but I feel that based on the little research we've carried out, you will find that the type of inappropriate content you find, most of them, in fact, some of them are shared from TikTok to X.
What you were complaining about, Lolo, not to take away what you're saying. Lolo came here one day and she was really hurt.
That's exactly what
about the flashing of boobs.
Yes, so that is it. In TikTok, I think Nigerians have gone overboard, and I'm referencing Nigeria here because even though other countries are on TikTok and they do other things that one can complain about, but when it comes to Nigerian content in particular, especially this aspect of inviting of young ladies to come online and then partake in some of these inappropriate acts or activities, Nigerian appears to be the leading this thing. So it is for that reason in particular that we thought, and of course, other platforms know that. Telegram, for instance. In Telegram, maybe I should even take the opportunity to mention this. We're working on suing Telegram also. Absolutely. And that is because on Telegram, Telegram is uncensored such that people go on the platform to sell nudes, to sell videos. So we have a client at the moment that her nudes, videos, and pictures are being sold on Telegram by someone for 3,000, 10,000 naira. Yes. Wow. So we actually did a petition to the Office of the Commissioner of Police here in Lagos State, and nothing seems to be done much. So we thought that, look, there's need for us to actually challenge this in court. And so eventually, that is something that is on the table for us.
I find this interesting because you mentioned the Constitution, and you were saying that ambiguous wasn't necessarily the word, but it feels like in a way the Constitution did not anticipate where we are. Absolutely. And so many countries are having to do further legislation to protect citizens with everything that's happening on social media. So I'm interested in finding out, and now you've mentioned that you have a case that you had reported to the police commission here in Lagos and haven't seen too much action on. So has TikTok responded? What about the regulatory bodies like the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, or the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, NDPC, in terms of them their agencies that are meant to oversee this regulatory space? What is their response to this? Have they, even before your lawsuit, attempted to curtail what TikTok is doing, or is this bringing them forth to say, okay, you have rights and responsibilities, you're an agency, do your job? So what's the response from the parties that should be involved?
So yes, we actually wrote to NIDA, that is the National Information Technology Development Agency, and we also wrote the NDPC. Concerning these issues that we mentioned, we didn't get any response from them. But again, like you said, these are the regulatory agencies, right? They ordinarily ought to have curtailed these without more. Especially having brought the issue to their attention. Now, it will interest you to know that in the TikTok suit that we filed before the court, we've joined NIDA as a party. So NIDA is a respondent, and what we're asking the court to do is to direct NIDA to liaise with TikTok to put certain measures in place to ensure that some of these issues we've highlighted are taken care of.
Let me not reference my own agency.
All right, this is Jasiri, ladies and gentlemen. We'll take a short break now. When we return, Jasiri continues. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Jasiri. At the heart of this case is a fundamental question. Should social media platforms be held legally accountable for the harmful content they enable? Because with TikTok's massive influence, especially among young users, are tech giants doing enough to safeguard digital spaces? Or is their failure to act fueling a culture of online exploitation? There are questions upon questions upon questions. So please join the conversation on social media. Find us at News Central TV. We're not they hide. We're still discussing the move by Citizens Gavel to petition the regulation of TikTok to curb sexual exploitation of minors and online safety risks in Nigeria. Agih Sylvester is a senior legal analyst at Citizens Gavel. He's taking us through the background of the case. Agih, we've seen on social media that the debates are heat up globally. So my question would be, what kind of accountability are you seeking from TikTok? Because as it is, I think you should just follow the entire streets of TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, just to be safe, so we don't have to. Yeah, but what kind of accountability are you looking for? Are we looking at stricter content moderation, fines, fees? I don't know. What exactly?
All right, so at the moment, what we are looking at is actually for TikTok to put policies in place to strengthen its age verification process. So I'll give you an instance. At the moment, when you go on TikTok, they will tell you that if you're
not
13 and above, you cannot. But the interesting thing is that you don't even need to sign up with TikTok before you begin to consume content on TikTok. You know, once you are able to type in www.tiktok.com on your browser, it takes you straight to the For You platform where you are able to watch everything.
Don't to log in.
Sorry?
So, I said there's no, sorry, I'm just thinking out loud. There's no filter. No, that's if I go to my browser and I type
as it is.
I asked that question recently because on TikTok, at the time I lost my account, and when I was about to come back, I just had to log in my Google, and then I saw TikTok. The only thing I couldn't do was like.
Exactly.
I couldn't like any of the content, but I was seeing everything.
What's the point? Now the issue with that is that you imagine your younger sister, for instance, or a child of maybe around 9, 10. Probably you drop your phone and they pick it up, access TikTok, and begin to consume some of these contents that we're talking about. You know, these are the issues, right? So we are asking the court to compel TikTok, right, to put an age verification process policy in place so that anybody registering, because at the moment, if I come and let's say I'm 9, but I have access to a device, and I come to TikTok to register or to sign up on TikTok, and I tell TikTok that I'm 13, TikTok is likely to believe me and just run with it, right? We want a situation whereby TikTok would actually verify that I'm actually 13. So, for instance, TikTok could request for my ID card, a valid ID card, to see that actually I'm up to 13, right? Now, that's one. But for the aspect of, people being able to access TikTok without reason, we feel that that is a problem. Because given the nature of the content of, on TikTok, there is need for TikTok to either have another version where, the street is clean and anybody accessing that version can basically, the kind of content they consume would be basically is healthy, educational and all. If we have that kind of platform, that's fine. Then for those that will be 18 and above, if TikTok insists on having this other kind of content that we are fighting against, then good and fine, let those ones that are actually adults, So if we have something like that, I feel it will help to check some of these issues of our minors. Exactly.
So it's interesting you talk about that, because I'm looking at TikTok's community guidelines right now, particularly the area of youth safety and well-being, and it says the following content is restricted to 18 years and above: disordered eating and body image issues, dangerous activity and challenges, nudity and body exposure, sexually suggestive content, shocking and graphic content, gambling, alcohol, tobacco, and drugs are some of the content that are limited to people 18 or above. Even I don't know why you're 18 above, you want to see that anyway. But at the end of the day, TikTok, like all of these social media platforms, have community guidelines that prohibit explicit content. Yet continuously we see these reports that minors are not just accessing them but taking part. After Lolo Day, after you did your rant the last time, I had just recently downloaded TikTok. I went on and I stumbled on one of these challenges. I cannot tell you how annoyed. I wasn't disgusted. I was annoyed and worried.
Challenge?
No, this one was worse. Two young girls were challenging each other, progressively getting further and further. And one, they first started with challenging each other to eat atarodo. Then after eating the atarodo, the next challenge was that one of them will put the atarodo close to her private parts. Then another one challenged, the other one challenged the other girl to use a blade, to a shaving stick, let me say, to shave herself. Wow. And I'm thinking, it was, how you're looking at a bad car accident and you're just like, what am I watching? I'm just watching. I'm like, what am I watching? What am I seeing? And all of this, what comes back to my mind is that the owners of these apps, Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg is on record. He doesn't let his children access Facebook. TikTok, the CEO of TikTok, does not let his children, he has teenage children, access any of the apps. They all know what is on their apps. They leave their apps to the rest of us and the rest of our children to consume and get somehow messed up by. So when we look at these community standards, where do you think the platform is failing in particular? Because then people will tell you if you're 18 and above, it should be at your discretion the type of content you're exposed to. I don't even think 13-year-olds should be on this. Please create an app for 13-year-olds. An app where you're mixing young children with adult people. Constantly, see, the data shows you. So somebody created a fake profile of a young girl. Within 24 hours, she had grown men. We're talking doctors, priests, lawyers, fathers, following that. Oh, see this pretty young girl. Oh, you're a pretty young thing. Fake app. Well, they knew what they were doing. But it showed you that the apps themselves, even with the flagging of many of those accounts, they were still there, sending her DMs, telling her, oh, be a good Please, I'm sorry, let me not go. It's taking my, I'm irritated.
It's understandable. So, for the community notes or guidelines, they will always be there because the idea is that if regulatory agencies were to, for instance, NIDA were to visit TikTok, they will see those guidelines and
TikTok will say we're doing our part.
Exactly. Yeah. But implementing it is actually the issue. That's our concern. Implementation is actually the main concern. So it is not enough for you to have those guidelines in place, and yet people take part in these challenges every day, and nothing is done about it. You understand? So for instance, TikTok, for instance, you just read part of the community guidelines that prohibit nudities and all that. But so what happens that till date we are still seeing young women, flashing their distance, taking off their clothes online? During live sessions and all. So that tells you that when it comes to implementation, there is a huge problem there. And that is why we, like I said, joined NIDA in the suit, because the idea behind that is that the court should compel NIDA to liaise with TikTok.
To do its job.
That's what we are saying. So we are aware that some of these guidelines are there, but they are not being implemented, and that is the issue.
See, I have to say, secondary to that is even reporting. I've reported a number of things, like X, forget X.
No,
like seriously,
X
if you have kids, keep them off X. That's what I can say. And I shared with the ladies one time on Instagram recently, I saw a young woman who supposedly was breastfeeding her son. Everything was out. But you knew that the breastfeeding was not for the breastfeeding mamas segment. It was for the men. You could see the comments. And I reported, and TikTok came back to me and said, oh, if I'm unhappy with the content, I should block and not watch. One, I wasn't looking for it. You know, when you go to, these days, anything can come up. I keep telling you guys, it's no longer a matter of the kind of content you've been following. The algorithm is throwing things in people's faces. And I reported, and it told me that it's not an issue with the community guidelines, that there's certain type of nudity that they allow. And I'm just thinking, at this point, but you know children are on this app, and you know that they're predatory men on this app and predatory women. We're not leaving them out, but it just also makes you think about all the things that are being thrown at our children. I don't know how many of you have watched the Netflix show that's trending, Adolescence, and it was you've seen it, and I think beyond the lawsuits, I think there's a moral conversation.
Absolutely.
There's a conversation we're not having about internet safety for our young people, especially our young girls. As you said, these things live on.
Exactly.
They will Google your name and it'll come up. If that's the only thing, if depending on the number of people who liked it, if that's the only thing they have about you, that's going to come up. Absolutely. And I know Google has a way to let you forget certain things, but that process is a very, very long process. So beyond the court case, let's talk about what we think needs to happen for our society. What do you think the issues are with the society?
Okay. Well, so I think that there is a lapse when it comes to parental, guidance of, children. So our children nowadays, have access to devices such as these at a very tender age, and so they are free to access some of these platforms that we are complaining about. And that is a huge issue because ordinarily these students, or these children rather, should be in school, studying for basically learning, right? Not going on TikTok, learning challenges or participating in challenges. But you find that some parents that would actually walk by seeing their children twerking on live session, and not do anything. You understand? There are some parents like that. They say, oh no, they're just children, leave them. So and these are the issues. So unlike back in the days when our parents would, guide us in terms of they are very watchful and would ensure that whatever we consume are actually things that will benefit us. These days, we don't witness things like that. So I feel that there is a challenge there, and there is need for parents to actually sit up in terms of how they lead their home and the kids, therein.
So, okay, we'll go on a short break now, but when we come back, I really want to find out how to, because I'm all for balance. How do we balance digital rights, freedom of speech with, the need to regulate this content? Because like Tolu said, now it's not, and it feels like some of these apps also have an agenda. Gone are the days when on Instagram there was an explore page if you want to go to explore. But now you're scrolling. It now became, it graduated into, you scroll, you see like 5 people you follow, then in between you see a list of people you don't know, you don't care about, and then they just tell you their suggestions. But now you're scrolling, you don't know who you follow and who you don't follow. It's just, everything is just in your face. So when we come back, I want us to talk about, the balance between regulating and digital rights. Stay with us.
Welcome again. If you're just joining us, you have missed quite a lot on the show, but you still have some few minutes to catch before we're out of the studio. Several countries have imposed bans or restrictions on TikTok due to concerns ranging from data privacy to content issues. For instance, India banned TikTok in June 2020, citing data security concerns. Additionally, countries like Australia and New Zealand have banned TikTok on government devices due to cybersecurity concerns. Given these international actions, do you believe Nigeria can consider a similar nationwide ban on TikTok? Or would you just advocate for alternate measures to address the issues of sexual exploitation and data privacy on the platform? Well, before you answer this question, Blessing had a question on balance, because when you're saying that, okay, we want you to regulate, in Nigeria, that is called complete gag. That means holding your hand, not allowing you to be able to do anything. So how do we strike this balance before we even talk about, what they can ban and to the extent?
Yes. So, Section 39 of the Constitution guarantees the freedom, the right to freedom of expression. And by that right, it means that you are free to express yourself in any way you want. However, there is a limitation or a restriction, placed on that, and that is by Section 45 of the Constitution. That section provides that, look, nothing shall invalidate, any law that is validly in place, that aims to promote defense, public safety, public morality, among others. Now, that public morality is what we are talking about now, because there are certain laws that have been put in place to ensure that, look, our public morals are not eroded. And these practices or these activities we witness on TikTok, and which we are complaining about, are some of the activities or content that erodes, public morality, right? So a way of balancing is that whereas on the one hand you have the right to express yourself the way you want. So if you want to go on TikTok to dance, to do certain things, you are free to do it. But don't corrupt the public. That's what we are saying. Don't corrupt.
You don't have to dance in your underwear.
Exactly.
Or without.
Absolutely. So that is the balancing we see there. And there is need for that to be enforced, because we are saying that, look, over time, these people have made it so, this inappropriate content to be so normalized such that our young ones are copying. And that if we don't take steps to stop it, before you know, there will be no longer, that word moral will probably be eating of the past. We will not be using that, because you will find ladies actually going stark naked doing that thing. And so,
I was thinking that, this TikTok, Tolu spoke about it earlier, about their age restrictions starting from 13. Yes. I already have a problem with that. Because if you look at YouTube, they have YouTube Kids, which
also has its issues.
Yeah, it has its issues, but at least they pegged something and they said kids. At least I know that half the time when I want to go on YouTube, they ask me, is this content for children above this age, or you can click and do this, and they have things they've put in place that can actually sift through this. What I'm even wondering is about the effectiveness of their verification process, because if you're saying 13 and 13 spans in Nigeria, adult age is from 18. That means you have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 in the mix. How do you want to be able to filter through that this content is appropriate for 13? It's lumped together. There should be some demarcations into it. So is that part of the things that you are advocating for?
Sorry, before you answer that, and I think it's important to make, as she talked about 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 6 years in between. We might think of it as just 6 years. That's 6 psychological years. Yes. What you understand at 13 is not what you understand at 17. Yes. What you understand and perceive at 17 changes when you become 18. So there's such a wide gauntlet of psychological development and psychological understanding. A lot of people say that brains are not completely functioning in our cortex for decision making until we're 21. Meanwhile, we're legal adults at 18. So at 13, you're on the same platform with adults who can sort of see adult ramifications and consequences, but you're 13. You lack the cognitive understanding and even the societal context and everything to it. Yes, very exactly. So sorry, please.
Absolutely. So, and that was why, like I said, part of our request from the court is that, look, TikTok should have like a version, like a basic version, where some of these kids that are between 13 and let's say 17 are able to access.
TikTok Kids.
Exactly, something around that. Something around that. So if there is something like that and the content there is maybe educational and all that, that would be very fine, right? But like Tolu mentioned, where you lump a 13-year-old with an 18-year-old and above, and then both of them consume the same content. And the type of content we are talking about, that means there is trouble, and these are the issues.
We already have the trouble.
Another problem is even the fact that even the TikTok users, and I believe that the creators of the app enjoy it because now there's something going on where you as a person, if your content is not appealing enough, you now invite either your nephew or your niece or your child. So you see adults collaborating with children to do content. So they at first they start off accidental. Maybe a child is being rude, and then they see that it's getting, you know, and then they start using the child for content. So it's going to, it becomes very difficult to even separate TikTok kids when the adult TikToks are infusing the kids just to get more content.
This thing you said is so.
There's a new documentary coming out about it. So I'm going to watch.
It's totally bad. When you see kid influencers talking about gaming, I was mortified. Like, are you kidding me? This little boy that I can say is like 8 or 7, he's talking about gaming, betting, and all these adult things. And you're like, okay, where does this, even if they restrict it, imagine if I'm watching TikTok kids and somebody is encouraging my 7-year-old to game, to bet. Is that not, this lawsuit you're filing, I'm sure you are going to be filing more lawsuits in the future.
You know, yes, but it's a step, right? Yeah. It's a step, and we hope that with this, that other platforms would also, you know,
yes, sense.
Exactly, and then, you know, sit up in terms of. So, like we said, those guidelines are there, no doubt. They will certainly put them out there so that people see, oh, this platform prohibits this and that is it. But we are talking about the implementation. You know, how about implementing it so that people see that, yes, when it comes to your platform, that kids...
You don't take these...
Exactly, and that our kids are safe. You know, so that's basically it.
So what's the next step? What stage are you in with the lawsuit, and what's the next step as we wrap up?
Okay, that's fine. So at the moment, we only just filed the suit. It has been assigned to a court, and we've been given the 3rd of June to mention the case. So in between this time, we are to serve TikTok as well as NIDA, who are the respondents in the matter, for their response. So naturally, they are expected to respond, and based on their response, we are entitled to a right to reply. And after the reply, we'll go before the court, mention our case, and on the next date, we'll argue the matter, and then the court will now sit on it on judgment.
What are you optimistic about?
Absolutely, absolutely, because whether you're a judge, whether you're a father, you're a mother, whoever you are, you have kids, right? And the last thing you would want is to see your daughter, your sister,
your son even.
Yeah, exactly. You know, on a live TikTok show, exposing themselves the way we see.
I just want to ask, what kind of advocacy are you doing? Because this is not just supposed to be like, in the courts alone. What kind of engagement are you doing to sensitize more people to your cause? Because I'm pro it, and there must be people with like minds that want this kind of protection for their children. What kind of activities?
Yeah, so we have a lot of activities, and one of them we executed last year, where we collaborated with Headford Foundation to visit schools around Lagos, you know, sensitizing the students. I'm sorry, I can't remember some of the schools. Now, one of them was at Ikorodu, the one I personally participated, and then my colleagues participated in others, you know. So basically, we teach them about their rights, both online and offline, and how to stay safe, you know. And then, in fact, that was one of the things that actually prompted us to want to go on TikTok. So in one of the sessions we had, we asked questions. We asked the students questions like, do they, you know, use the social media platforms? They say answered yes. And we asked them which of the social media platforms do they use the most? They say TikTok. And we were wondering to ourselves, TikTok? Okay, so when we went back, we tried to assess TikTok. So and that was when I got to know that TikTok, you don't even need to sign up before you're able to. Exactly, before you're able to. So we were wondering to ourselves, if these kids who are supposed to be in school, who are supposed to be studying, you know, to better their lives, have access to TikTok, and these are the kind of contents you meet, then there is problem. And that was actually what prompted us to take the steps we are taking now.
All right. So we'll ask another question, but we don't have any time. We will continue to follow up with you on these efforts. This is not the first of these conversations we've had, and we've been very vocal about social media, potential social media regulation, and even the responsibility of parents and the platform. So this is a conversation Jasiri is very much interested in. And so we'll be following up with you on it. And I guess we'll say, is it best of luck? Or is it break a leg? What do we say in this regard? But thank you so much.
We'll be watching the space as well.
Okay, interesting conversation, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it plays out. Thank you once again for joining us, and it's been an amazing conversation. For myself and the ladies, let me know, it's not about to be a monologue. Thanks for joining us. See you again tomorrow. Bye.
Bye-bye.